family, friends, students, and especially the Concord Carlisle class of 2017. I am grateful to be here with all of you to celebrate this joyous occasion. And I'm deeply honored to be the graduation speaker for your class. When I first learned that I was speaking to you, I was touched, also a little nervous and anxious. And as I began to write this address, I found myself wondering what I could offer in terms of wisdom and advice to a class that's already so accomplished. A class full of brilliant students, tenacious debaters, exceptional artists, gifted musicians, and outstanding athletes. Maybe I could offer you one of my favorite math jokes. What did 0 say to 8? Nice belt. Yeah, you're welcome. Perhaps I could remind you, as I have every Friday for the last few years, to make good choices. Don't worry, parents, I still want them to make good choices. Or, since many of you asked for personal shout-outs, maybe I could just read through the class list and call out each of your names. I hope that counts. As I continued to work through this speech, I realized, however, that I am in a unique position to address you. It was 18 years ago that I sat where you are sitting on this field here. I remember feeling pride for everything I had accomplished and excitement about the future. I remember feeling wistful in anticipation of saying goodbye to the people that I had gotten to know in the sandbox at Milldam Nursery School, and anxious about how I was going to stay connected to those friends who had become family to me during our times playing on the sports field, while studying for calculus tests, and during our weekly trips to Kimball's. And to be honest, I remember feeling a little eager for the graduation speaker to move along so I could get on to celebrating with family and friends. So 18 years ago, I was sitting in a chair on this field like you, and in 18 years, I hope to be sitting in the bleachers where your families and friends are, as this little one in my belly crosses the stage. Families of the class of 2017, I can only begin to imagine the range of feelings that you must have as you watched your loved ones close one chapter and prepare to open another. So class of 2017, this is the closing of one chapter for you. But instead of talking about closings and what I was driving up the main turnpike with my parents as they were bringing me to college. As I was attending my father's alma mater, he was giving me some final advice. One year he told me the first snow came in early October and the last snow in late May. That on a Sunday morning I could get pancakes that would rival his at the Brunswick Diner, and that the school had a tradition called the Bowden Hello. This meant that when you were walking across campus and passed someone, whether you knew the person or not, you would look them in the eye and say hello. As a wise 18-year-old, I nodded in agreement and swiftly ignored all of his advice. I wish that I had not. Specifically his advice on looking people in the eye and saying hello. Instead of embracing the campus hello, I started turning inwards and closing myself off. When passing people on campus, I often looked down. Though I had been open and confident in high school, in college I became closed and insecure. I was afraid that if I let people truly see me, they might not accept me. I wish that I had been able to be open. Spending time in the echo chamber of your own head, or in your phone or computer, it's easy for self-doubt to creep in. It is easy to spend time comparing your life to the imagined lives of the people around you. I now realize that my father was telling me something important, that openness to people around you, to real contact with actual others, is a balm for anxiety. The willingness to open up to other people, I have discovered, is the key to self-acceptance and therefore essential to healthy relationships. And ultimately, this means that you must approach your life with your head up and your eyes open. Get out of your head, get out of your phone. It's lonely in there. Get into the lives of others and let them into yours. Dad, thanks for the advice. You were right. The second story occurred 3 years after I had graduated from college. I found myself on the brink of another transition. After living in California for a few years, I had made plans to move home and get an apartment in Boston with a classmate of mine from CCHS. I had promised my mom that I would no longer be a plane ride away. I felt ready to return. The day my plane took off for Boston, I opened my email and learned that the Deep Creek Middle School on the island of Eleuthera in the Bahamas had an unexpected job opening for a math teacher. I quickly closed my computer. I had made my decision, I had committed to a friend, and I had promised my mom. However, 2 nights later, while lying restless in my childhood bed, I got up and went downstairs and logged into my email. I reached out to the principal, flew down for an interview 2 days later, and then embarked on a 4-year adventure on Eleuthera that changed my life. So what does this story have to do with openness? I encourage you to be open to new experiences. Too often, it is our instinct to ask why and to say no. In doing so, we close ourselves off to opportunity. I encourage you to ask why not and to say yes. There are countless places to explore, people to meet, and challenges to embrace. Be open to these new experiences. Do not ignore the small voice that whispers to you in the middle of the night, urging you to apply for that far-flung job. The voice that whispers to you that it's time for you to change your life. Doing so will make you into a different person. It may be difficult, but I promise you won't regret it. Now, for the third and final story. And this one reveals the happy irony of teaching. We teachers, who claim to be the experts, actually learn a great deal from you, our students. Last spring, Owen Kruger, a member of the Rivers and Revolution's 8th cohort, showed me a different kind of openness. During one of our days in the field, another student in the cohort mentioned that he had forgotten to bring his lunch. Without hesitation, Owen reached into his bag, pulled out a turkey sandwich, and passed it to his classmate. I asked Owen why he had a second sandwich. Had he been particularly hungry that morning and he wanted some more food? Maybe he wasn't going to get home for dinner, so he packed an extra sandwich. He shook his head and said that he always packed an extra lunch in case someone in the class had no food. I was taken aback. This was a small act, but it spoke volumes. Owen demonstrated to me the value of open-handedness. Each morning, he woke up and prepared to give something away. Consider what this does to his orientation toward the world. What if we all prepared every day to be similarly generous? My suspicion is this: when giving becomes a habit of hand and then a habit of heart, we might see more good in others. We would find more reason to be hopeful. We would be more keenly aware of all of the good fortune in our lives. We might also find that we're less prone to paralysis in the face of the world's big problems. And I suspect that these small acts of kindness might actually shift the course of the world more than we would ever expect. Discover what might be the sandwich in your life that you can give, and then find a way, every day, to give yourself away. If you can acquire the habit of open-handedness, your life will be infinitely richer. In summary, I ask you, class of 2017, to greet the world with your head high and your eyes open, to be open to all of the experiences which will present themselves, and to keep your hands and your hearts open. Expect to be surprised. Do not allow yourselves to be complacent. Openness will not necessarily make your life easy, but it will make it joyful. Openness will not make your path straight, but it will allow you to be free in your choices. Openness will not prevent you from failing, but it will allow you to keep trying. Openness will not protect you from pain, but it will allow you to embrace others with an open heart and to help to ease their suffering. Openness will not shield you from the harsh realities of the world, but it will allow you to change the world for the better. So Concord Carlisle High School class of 2017, your graduation today is only one expression of the enormous love and pride which we, this entire community, feel for you. Go out into the world and embrace your future with openness, and know that wherever you go, we go with you. Congratulations.